Hey YouTube. Hey YouTube on this Thursday night. Thursday thoughts. Let's get some conversation going. Not going to be before you long. Thursday thoughts, trying something new to build some conversation around some well needed topics and discussions. And tonight I just want to talk about love, purpose, and priorities. Love, purpose, and priorities. This week I started to talk about this endless love that I am experiencing, this moment of love that I am experiencing. And sometimes when you speak of the word love, people automatically think it has to do with the man, it has to do with the woman, a relationship, somebody new in your life. But this endless love that I am referring to is a placement. It's a placement. It's like where I am is a journey for me. And with taking some steps and positioning myself in places and jumping over fears and, approaching strongholds and all of those different things, the growth, the maturity, getting a whole lot of things together up here together mentally, things are transforming. And it's an exciting place because, again, it's a placement. It's where I am. It's an exciting place. I refer to it as an escape from my prior brokenness, an escape from my prior brokenness. And this endless love that I am referring to, let's just say it came through the process of me gaining my spiritual identity. And that's one of the key things for me. So when you hear me say endless love, it doesn't have to do with no man. It doesn't have to do with a relationship. It doesn't have to do with any of that. It has to do with the placement of which I have positioned myself to be in a spot where I can now recognize, hey, Kiana, I can now recognize my spiritual identity. Not only recognize, I can understand my spiritual identity, which comes from passion, a passion that has been built up for years that I am now exercising freely and motivated to do it. So my endless love, the place of which I am right now, where, like I said, is exciting. And it is an escape from my prior brokenness to making sure that I never go back. I never go back. Pastor K, yes. I never go back to the things. I never attach myself to the people. We often position ourselves in these situations. Sometimes we want to blame other people, but sometimes it's self-inflicted. Sometimes we cause ourselves to get in those situations. Sometimes we, we bring situations on for ourselves. And I just want to make sure that I never put myself back in any of those positions. The decisions that I make, the actions that I take, I never want to put myself back in those positions again. So spiritual identity, it is a wonderful thing. Yes, I meant to say yes, Pastor K. I meant to say Pastor K, but I do recognize this issue. Spiritual identity, and that's mostly what I want to talk about tonight. Spiritual identity. I used to hear people say, "What is it? What is it? What is it?" But spiritual identity, when you begin to understand who you are, when you begin to understand what your purpose is, when you begin to understand and begin to recognize, God speaking to you and God directing you, God sense of confirmation, it becomes a wonderful thing. It makes your journey a little easier because you don't feel as lost. You don't feel like you're by yourself. You're not second guessing yourself. When God confirms it, like, you know that you can move safely. You don't know what the outcome's going to be. You don't know how it's going to turn out, but it's pretty assuring that you can move safely in whatever that decision is. And this journey that I am on, transformation, complete transformation, transformation of restoration and renewal of the mind, most importantly, because we cannot transition to another place, to another side, until we create a new mind. You know, they'll say old keys will not unlock new doors, which is so true. You cannot go forward, you cannot advance with the same mindset in which you did of that circumstance that you were stuck in. So, renewal and restoration, those words stand out big to me. Um, and I'm just excited. I am excited because here's the thing: when you have doubted yourself, when you have, um, that's the biggest word, when you have doubted yourself, like you really did not think I could do this, or you let fear, you let so many different things, you let shame, you let people's opinion of you, what people are going to think about me if I do this, what people are going to say if I do this. Most importantly, am I going to lose people along this process? And that's one thing I don't care about. I really don't care about who I lose, because I realize now that everybody is not going to stay on this journey with me. Um, Everybody is not going to elevate with me. Everybody is not supposed to enter every season with me. And I had to get that through my head. So I don't worry about who I'm going to lose. What I do hope is that God allows me to, draw myself and attach myself to other people, that are going through certain circumstances as me, people that I can uplift, and people that can also take me to a higher level and help me to become a better person as well. I wrote down some scriptures because I am trying to attach scriptures to my presentations now. So Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to the things of the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Um, if we want to move forward, if we want to just do things different, for me, when I look around, I'll be like, wow, Keisha, like you're thinking different, like you're talking different. People are looking at you different. I wrote down thinking, responding, talking, believing, and desiring. Everything is different. Everything is different. Desires that I may have had in a relationship, different. The way that I used to think, different. The way that I used to talk, different. I used to be, at one time, I used to be the type of person, they would call me the mean girl. I really wouldn't say too much, but you could tell by my face what I really meant. But now I watch how I say it, but I just say it politely. Like I don't hold back. I speak what I feel. I get those expressions out there. I know when to say and I know what not to say. But for the most part, I was never the person to express myself. And I have learned to respect myself respectfully. And that has helped me go into the second key point I want to talk about tonight: build boundaries and standards for myself, which is something I struggle with, especially in relationships. I struggle with standards and boundaries. I let the men put the choices on me. I let the men put the limitations on me. I let the men, tell me, give me this and give me that, tell me what was acceptable, what was not. And in this season of my life, I am so strong. I am so proud of myself. I have gained enough confidence to build my own standards, to build and not standards that are too high, the reasonable standards that a woman should have for herself. Whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, whatever it is, those standards and those boundaries are very, very important. One of the things that along my journey recently that I have had to ask God to do, had to ask God to just, replenish me with new everything, a new mind, new way of thinking, react to things different, new everything. Because I'm starting fresh. I'm on this new journey. I'm starting fresh. And as I said, it's exciting for me. It's exciting for me. I am breaking free of the strongholds. I'm breaking free of the people that I was attached to, that was hindering my process. I am breaking free of old habits, of situations that I may have been caught up in. So tonight, the title that I had, Love, Purpose, and Priorities. And one of the reasons why I chose that title tonight was because I think about purpose, which is attached to my passion, but I also think about love. And sometimes when you're love, let's just say attach that to a relationship or you're in a situationship or whatever, and you want to move forward in your passion, and you want to move forward in your purpose. But one thing that I've recently, and God has challenged me with, you also have to look at where does your relationship fall in part of that. So this is my purpose, this is my passion, and I'm in this relationship or I'm attached to this person or whatever. How does that person pour into your ministry, pour into you or whatever it is? And for me, I've had to ask, okay, if I am going forward in ministry, how does my partner play a part of that? How should my partner play a part of that? And last week, I was watching videos and stuff, and it was talking about the importance of your part, the importance of you not just building a marriage on purpose, but also forming your relationship on purpose. Because the person that you're with, that purpose should be a connected energy, an exchange of energy. So here we go again, that new way of thinking, that new way of me thinking. Backtracking, even before I get married, I want to think about purpose. How can I build purpose even in my next relationship? How can I build purpose? Very, very important. So being able to have God get me to the point where everything is new. I think new, I act new, everything is new. Psalms 51:10 says, create in me a clean heart, O God, renew in me the right spirit. So I have to be able to challenge myself that I will position myself in a place where I am willing to do new things, where I am willing to allow God to change me. I'm willing for God to take me through this process where I can begin to shine, where I can begin to blossom and come into this wonderful queen and advance in the growth and maturity and all of those wonderful things. As I was just saying, my biggest challenge with being in this, my biggest challenge in being um, in this love, this exciting place for me, which I said is escape from my prior, brokenness, is that I have to think different. I have to think different. I have to challenge myself because of what my goal is, because of the prayers I've asked God for. People might not understand, that you ask God for this and you ask God for that. And whatever you ask God for, when He begins to render that, you now have to position yourself accordingly. So there's some things that you're going to have to do. There are going to be some things that you can't do. There are going to be some people that you cannot attach yourself to because of the character, because of the image that you want to protect for yourself. And God has had me just to be challenged to think on that level. Because everybody that knows me knows this is what I love to do. I love to talk. I love to motivate. I love to uplift. I like to do all of those things. But I also have some stronger desires that I only talk to a couple of people about, that I am asking God to position me into. So I have to prepare for those things. Before I even get there, I have to start preparing myself for those things. So I have to look to my left, I have to look to my right, I have to look behind me, I have to look forward and see what might not line up with where I am trying to go. So connecting love and purpose, connecting love and purpose. What is your priority? What's a priority? Is your love partner, is that over your priority of God to be able to strengthen you and gear you up for you to be to just be able to carry out whatever His will is for you with dedicating 100% without letting other things get in the way and distract you, that's one thing that I had to think about. What are the things that are around me that I need to think about now that's not going to distract me by preparing myself now? And when God allows me to walk into what I'm claiming, um, I'll be good. I'll be good. And that's the challenge. Connecting love and purpose can be very challenging. You hear some people, you look around and you see some people, and they may be in ministry and or anything. They may not get support from their spouse. They may not get support from their mate. I've decided that I just want to just take things slow, allow God to just take me along this course, along this process of which I'm supposed to go, that whoever, when that time comes, I'm not in no rush. But remember, every day we should just be preparing ourselves for more, to do more, to be more, to become more. You don't know. We don't know when that process is going to shift to something else. We don't know when God is going to place something before us, and allow whatever breakthrough that we've been praying for, that blessing to be released. So you got to stay geared up. You got to stay ready, because you just don't know when God's going to open that door that you've been praying for. And that's just the mindset that I have. So I try to keep myself prepared. And as I am committing myself more to this endless love, as I said, this endless love has nothing to do with the man. It has nothing to do with anything. It just has to do with the placement in which I have put myself, to keep myself out and away from prior brokenness, prior situations in which some of it have been inflicted pain, but some of it has been pain that others have put upon me that I didn't deserve, that I didn't want. And I've had to, move beyond those things. I have claimed to be happy, to be whole, and to be healed. To be happy, to be whole, and to be healed. And that's what I claim. Um, we are all uniquely designed. We are all uniquely designed in our own special way. We may look at other people as women, sometimes we want to compare ourselves. We want to be jealous of the next lady. We want to, oh, I wish what she had, or even this. We see people in relationships. We see people in marriages. Oh, it looks good, because you see just a moment of it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's good. Doesn't necessarily mean everything is fine. You're just seeing a glimpse of it. So sometimes we have to move forward and realize that we are all uniquely designed in our own way. Whatever our gift is, whatever our talent is, like, that's what we have. That's what God gave us to use. Whether it's your voice to sing or your voice to speak, you have it. A talent to dance, a talent for an instrument, a talent to write, a talent to help other people, pour into them different ways. We all have a gift and we all have a talent that we can use to move forward. So let's just remember that we are uniquely defined. We are uniquely defined through God. Psalms 139:14. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are made by the best. We are made by the best of the best. And we go through these trials, we go through these problems, we go through these situations, and we trust everybody else but God. We rely on everybody else but God. But when you just begin to believe and have faith, and you just trust God enough that He cares enough and He loves you enough, when I look around at the things that God has provided for me within the last 6 months to a year, I'll be like, God, you love me that much? Like, God, I literally did not know that you love me that much. Simply as though you start off, that was just a prayer. It was just a repeated prayer. It was just a desire. It was a built desire. And then I began to take it in prayer. But God, you rendered that prayer, like you delivered that prayer. You allowed that prayer to actually happen. And with all of that, it builds up motivation. That's what builds up your faith. When you begin to exercise your prayer, when you begin to exercise all of those things, and you begin to see, I prayed for this repeatedly, I've asked God for this repeatedly, and now it's actually come to pass. That builds up your motivation. That builds up your faith. And it's just a wonderful place. It's just a wonderful place. My endless love is permanent. It's for the rest of my life. No matter who comes into my life, no matter how my life changed, whatever, I will no longer ever again be in a place where I feel empty. I will never be in a place again where I feel I have to settle, accept because of a void, because of anything. Like I will I will be filled. I will be I can't describe it. I don't know if you've ever been in that place where you're experiencing something and like it's undescribable. For the first time, I know I will never be in an empty spot. I will never be in an empty spot where I feel as though I have to accept or have to settle just because. Like I can really manage alone if needed. I'm good because I look at my growth and I look at the dedication that I put in. I look at the effort that I put in, and it's all paid off. It's all paid off for a good cause. It has all paid off for a good cause. I wrote down it is our responsibility to build effective standards, boundaries, and to appreciate ourselves. It is our responsibility to build effective standards and boundaries to appreciate ourselves. Sometimes I think that we may be too hard on ourselves. Sometimes we don't really tap into that inner worth, that inner value. We don't tap into those things. Um, but appreciate yourself for who you are, regardless of what you feel may not be going right, what may have went wrong. You are valuable. You are precious. You are a queen. Like you are fearfully and wonderfully made. No matter how you look, how people may view you, you are valuable. Appreciate yourself above all. Um, I want to talk about these three questions because we have 8 minutes left. Three questions that I wanted to answer during this live. How did I identify love within my purpose? How did I identify love within my purpose? And it is because all of it's a built up passion, a passion of years. And when you build up that passion, it's like this thing that won't stop. It's like this bubble that just keeps bubbling and bubbling, and you're just trying to control it, but it's out of control. So I have identified love. I have identified this endless love through my passion of what I love to do and being in a place where I'm excited to do it. I wake up thinking about doing it. The most um, thing that stand out is I no longer have to struggle of what I'm going to write down. God just begins to give me things and I write it down. I'm like, okay, God, let me get this down first. I'm running to my phone, I'm running to the paper because I don't want to forget a thought. Because if I do, I'm gonna be mad at myself. It comes natural, a built up passion where he just speaks to me and I could just write it down. The second one that I had wrote down was how does this love position me for purpose? Because it makes me accountable. Because it makes me accountable in every area of my life. Because of what I am asking God for. Because of what I am trusting Him for. It makes me accountable. Accountable of the situations I place myself in, accountable of the actions that I take, and accountable of how I respond to people and things. It makes me accountable. Um, or whether I stay in this or whether I leave, you know, whether I play tug of war with this thing or I stay serious with this thing. And then lastly, why is this love a continued priority for me? Because this is a therapeutic method for me. It's a therapeutic method for me that's attached to my passion. Years ago, when this first started, it was like I didn't want to be in therapy for the rest of my life, so I knew that I wanted to come up with something that that I could maintain after therapy. But then it became a passion where I wanted to help other people too. So the continued, it's just how I survive, basically. It's how I survive. It's how I survive because the mental, our mind, anything can break our mind, anything can stress us. And you have to be able to have some some level of being able to stay balanced mentally, physically, emotionally, all of those things. And if you don't, you will lose yourself. You will find yourself in a spot where you are trying to pick yourself back up, get back up, and you have no help whatsoever. This love, I wrote down these words. This love, this love is peaceful. This love is safe. This love is secure. And this love is applauding because I applaud myself. And I say to every queen that's watching, and any queen that may be going through something, struggling or challenged with those inner issues, loving yourself more, setting boundaries and standards. I'm telling you, it's hard. When you've never done it and you've allowed people to treat you different ways, any type of way, it's hard. But the discipline helps. Discipline helps. And once you get there, you'll feel so excited about yourself. You will feel so amazed about yourself. And then lastly, what else did I want? Because I wrote so much down. I had so much on my mind to talk about, but I want to stay within the 30 minutes. Lastly, I will just say this. Um, like, we just have to get to a place, again, as I was saying, happy. I'll read this. Singleness, a stage of seeking purpose. A stage of seeking purpose. Completeness, a stage of having all the necessary tools. And lastly, wholeness, the stage of being unbroken and undamaged. Three stages. In your singleness, that is your time to heal. In your singleness, even if you are in a relationship, even if you are in a marriage, you can find that time to yourself to heal, your time to work on your own insecurities, your own challenges, your own inner struggles. You can find that time to work on you, even in that relationship, even in that marriage. One of the things that I regret is starting a relationship off, excuse me, as two hurt people. Because hurt people. And one of the worst things that you ever want to do, and I said I would never do this again, is get into a relationship where I know that we both are hurt. Because if you both are not growing, you eventually end up falling apart. You can literally fall apart because somebody may outgrow the other person upon their growth. And when you begin to grow, things change. You want different. You see different. You begin to think different. I will never allow myself to be to get into another relationship where it's that hurt type of thing where I'm looking, that I think they call it codependency. That's the worst type of relationship to get in. The worst type of relationship to get in, and the worst relationship to try to deal with getting out of and getting past. So singleness, whether you're in a marriage, whether you're in a relationship, take that time to just heal and work on you, and dedicate yourself the effort that you need. Completeness, the stage of you having all the necessary tools. Look, research, find people, make connections, do whatever you need to do. You are not going to find it just sitting in your house. You're not going to find it just staying in a room by yourself. It's not going to come to you. You're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to take action to find the resources and the tools that you need to help you get to the place that you want to get to. And then lastly, before we end this live, wholeness, which is the stage of being unbroken and undamaged. We are broken, we are damaged from relationships, from um, things that we have grew up, we have experienced the experiences of life, so many different things. Undamaged and unbroken. We all want to get there. And it's possible. We all want to get there. And it's possible. Um, Psalms 37, verses 4 and 5. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you your heart's desires. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will act. And I tell you, as a survivor of domestic violence, as an overcomer of having several insecurities, self esteem, lack of self love, not knowing my value. I prayed about these things many times, crying on the pillow, talking to myself, talking in the mirror, having those self chats, whatever. If you continue to allow these things to be your desires, and you continue to take them to God in prayer, I'm telling you, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Nobody know how long it's going to take for you to get there. But what I will tell you, the more that you dedicate yourself and the more that you work towards it, the more that you really want that thing, you commit yourself. And here's the number one key: you begin to discipline yourself for it, and you begin to apply the faith that you need. It will happen. I promise you. This endless love, I found it through my spiritual identity. It is my way of escape from my prior brokenness. And I promise to never let myself, never let anyone take me back there. Thank you for joining me on this Thursday Thoughts tonight. I love you. Be safe. And until next time, we will see each other.